Unmasking Japan is brought to you by Carter Associates KK. It is the year 2010. The place, Tokyo. Japan's economy continues to shrink as the population ages, while a strong yen and devastated overseas markets hit the country's exporting giants hard. Meanwhile, the nation's economic foot soldiers, the salarymen, morph into soushokudanshi, grass eaters, herbivores more interested in fashion than bringing home the bacon. So what are these herbivore men, and where did they come from? The term soushokudanshi was coined by columnist Maki Fukusawa in a series of articles published on the Nikkei Business Online website in October 2006. But it wasn't until 2009 that the term really took root, when the nation's major newspapers started publishing articles on the phenomenon, leading in turn to foreign media such as CNN and Reuters picking up the story. The definition of the grass-eating man, according to Fukusawa, is as follows. A young man who earns little and spends little and takes a keen interest in fashion and personal appearance. Typically, he is in his 20s and 30s and believes that friendship without sex can exist between men and women. Masculinity is not important to him. The soushokudanshi are characterized as a tribe of men who do not aggressively approach women, even when there's a chance for sex or romance, respect women's feelings, and believe that showing women their vulnerability is not a weakness. Fukusawa states that due to the new generation growing up during Japan's lost 2 decades, as the last 20 years of economic malaise have come to be known, the current crop of men are less assertive and less goal-orientated when compared to their baby boomer fathers. Fukusawa also states that a lack of job opportunities in Japan has also impacted on this generation's thirst for wealth. A recent survey states that 61% of single men in their 30s believe that they are somewhat herbivorous, while 13% consider themselves a full-blown soushokudanshi. In total, almost 75% of these single Japanese men describe themselves as soushokudanshi. So, what does this mean from a marketing point of view? We return to Unmasking Japan HQ to find out. Okay, Dom, so last days of Pompeii, the fall of a civilization, what are we seeing here?
Well, I'm not quite sure it's the end of Japanese civilization, but the civilization is highly challenged. I mean, we've had 20 years of very low economic growth, and we're just in our latest recession. And the way that things used to be in those years, and those 40-odd years after the Second World War ended, with high economic growth, lots of opportunities, and lots of chances for men to play those traditional roles of breadwinner and salaryman, those opportunities just simply aren't there anymore. So I think we're seeing what may be a very Japanese response to those pressures, whereas perhaps overseas men become antisocial, to society in terms of, crime and so forth when they're frustrated. In Japan, they tend to turn more inward. And I think in that sense, I think that really is a very Japanese response to what we're seeing.
Okay, so in terms of marketing for the future, what do you think we'll see?
Well, I think if you look at the success of brands like Uniqlo and Muji, you can see a more modest expression, a less ostentatious expression is working very well. And I think, sure, there are trends like, okay, men are more interested in grooming and how they look and so on and so forth. But I don't think we're suddenly going to see men walking around the streets of Tokyo wearing makeup and, women's clothes. I don't think this is what soushokudanshi is about. I think anything that involves less pressure to express a successful persona, I think, and represents a return to more kind of modest values, I think is going to succeed in the years ahead.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.